I don't know where this is going to be with when this releases, but it was just announced that the Washington football team owner, he just came to agreement to sell his team for like $6 billion, right?
Right.
Which, dang. But if you follow,
Nice work if you can get it. Right?
Yeah, right. If you follow any of that story, you know that like his ownership of that organization is mired by just awful things, right?
Yeah.
And one specific thing that happened that I was reading about yesterday, there was a woman she was like 70 years old. She had season tickets. She had a contract, and she's supposed to pay for these tickets, and she lost work. She was a realtor. And this, I think the pandemic hit, and like the house market wasn't doing well. And she was like, "Look, I am on hard times. Can we defer my payments? Can we come up with something?" And the organization said no, and sued her for like $60-something thousand. So this organization that would later sell for $6 billion now
needed the $60,000 that they weren't getting for. Yeah.
Now they turned around, and like when it got brought to light and some stories got wrote about it, they turned around and said, "Oh, obviously we don't want to do this. This is just standard. We don't want to sue this old woman who's been a season ticket holder for decades, But like
we only did that because we got caught.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But it really kind of illustrates this exact, typically those who pursue wealth continue to pursue wealth. Yeah. Money and finance is the thing. It is their God. Jesus says this. He said, you can't serve both God and money, right? Mm-hmm. Those who put such a high priority on wealth, they serve wealth and pursue wealth at the detriment of their brothers and sisters in Christ. Yeah. Which is why, he goes on to say, you're doing well if you follow the law of love your neighbor as yourself. You wouldn't sue yourself. You would extend mercy and grace to yourself. Yeah. You would find a way to kind of work this out and try to figure that out. I think another great parable about this is when a ruler comes to a man that owes him money, and he says, you owe me money, so I'm going to throw you in debtor's prison. And he's like, "Oh, please, please, please have mercy and give me some time." And he's like, "Okay, we'll have mercy on you." And then he goes and finds someone that owes him money, and he says, "You owe me money, so now I'm going to take you to debtor's prison." And then when the original master finds out, he says, "Oh, no. I gave you mercy and then you didn't show mercy." Yeah. And this was a parable that, and I paraphrased it, so please go read it. Yeah. But Jesus talks about this. This is kind of the mentality that we see for those who serve wealth. It's hard for them to serve God.
Yeah. Yeah, and you talk about another parable of the story of when Jesus says that it's easier for the camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to go into heaven. Yeah. And he sees this rich man. He says, "What do I have to do to go to heaven?" Basically, mm-hmm. He says, "Give up everything you have and follow me." And he's like, "Oh shoot. Okay, what else?" Yeah. Because he goes away because he had many things, and it's. I think that the problem with wealth isn't that just having wealth, having a lot in itself is not a sin. It is that rich young ruler loved his wealth more than he loved Jesus, and he wasn't willing to give it up to follow Jesus.
100%, because Jesus originally says to him, obey the law and the prophets, and he says, "Well, I do that." Yeah. Right? He says, "Well, I'm doing that, God. Like, I do believe right in here, and I'm not a bad person, God." Mm-hmm. And Jesus says, "Okay, great. Well, then give up your wealth and do as I do. Yeah. Be like me, follow me. Yeah. Die to what you want." And he can't do it. And what's interesting there is God's kind of shows him like, you're not actually fulfilling the law and the prophets.
Your actions don't really oh shoot.
Well, they don't prove what you're saying.
Yeah, your actions don't follow your words.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And another thing that I love about this here in the end, he kind of calls out their hypocrisy a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's like you're looking up to you're looking up to these wealthy people, and you think they're so great, but like you have dishonored the poor. Is not the rich who are exploiting you? Are they not the ones who are dragging you into the cart? Are they not the ones who are blaspheming the noble name of him to whom you belong? Right. Like, you do realize why they're rich, right? Because they're screwing you over. Yeah.
Well,